Welcome to the Messy Success Podcast, where we are shining a light on being successful in an unconventional way. My name is Tracy French, and I am your host. I am a mom, wife, real estate agent, real estate investor, and real estate team leader. I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Jim Hill. We discuss how success in life doesn't always have to look the same, and we are here to prove that to you. Let's get started.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
What's up?
So excited for this episode.
I am excited for this episode too, and I'm going to try to read directly from my little notes here, the intro. So welcome, Todd Sharp, to the podcast today. For those of you who don't know, which isn't many of you, I'm sure, he is the former dance coach to the Louisville Ladybirds, the star of Lifetime series That's So Sharp. I don't know if this is his self-proclaimed or if it's true. It could be true. The winningest coach in the dance world, holding approximately 15 championship national titles with the University of Louisville and won a double national title in 2016 with the Ladybirds. He also led the Floyd Central Dazzlers to more than 100 wins and 21 national championships, including 10 straight Universal Dance Association titles in a row. He is the proud father of 2 sons. After achieving fame and so much success, he has also experienced negative attention in the public eye, accusations that led to his firing from the University of Louisville, arrest, addiction, and so much more. Today, we want to hear his take on all of that and all that has happened and celebrate his recovery in hopes that others can see you can hit the bottom and fight your way back.
This sounds heavy.
Not too heavy for you, my friend. So.
All right. Where do we begin, Jim?
Well, we're going to start at the beginning. And that's always a good place to start. No, I'm so pumped about this. So obviously when we started this podcast, or you really started this and you asked me to be on, and in the beginning, you said messy success. Like, what does that look like? And for me, I got so many life experiences myself, obviously dealt with a recent setback as well, and have rebounded what I feel like is in principle very nicely.
Agreed.
But, at the end of the day, as we've stated all along, this show isn't just about real estate. It's about anything in life. Obviously, we tie in real estate quite a bit, but anything in life to where, success can come in so many different shapes, sizes, colors, whatever you want to characterize it as. And so obviously having moved back to Louisville here recently and reconnecting with my good friend, Todd Sharp, I felt like he epitomized perfectly what we're trying to accomplish on this show. So,
right.
So Todd,
the messy part.
Let's let him speak.
I know. So welcome, Todd.
How you doing today?
Doing okay. Thanks for having me. A little bit nervous, but
Me too.
Anyway, I'm excited for the opportunity. So I appreciate you both. And Jim, I'm super proud of you. Always have been. And you are the epitome of resiliency. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, friend.
I'm proud of you too, Tim. Jim.
My name is Jim.
Jill.
Don't tell my wife that. That's a whole different story.
Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself. I would like to know first, I'm just going to assume, did you were a coach at Floyd Central first, right, before the university. So tell us how did you land at the university and all of that good stuff? Tell us where it started.
Well, it was through my work at the University of Louisville that caught the attention of the folks at the University of Louisville. So, high school dance team coach, definitely, turned some heads initially. You see a younger man. I used to be young, believe it or not. I'm younger than I look, maybe, but not really. It's been a rough couple of years, but to say the least. But working with a high school dance team, and I went to Floyd Central High School. Always had a decent dance team there, and I was one of these. Well, I wasn't. I still. I have kind of always felt like I'm on the outside looking in. In every aspect of life, and and that continued through my successes in coaching. We would win championships, and I would feel like I was outside watching that happen,
Right.
instead of owning it so much. But yeah, I worked with the dance team at Floyd, and I came in and immediately, I wanted to be good at something, and I've always loved dance. And
Did you? I want to know, because I am one of those reality TV people who I watch it all, and I'm not ashamed to say that. Did you dance yourself? I wondered that when I watched it. Were you ever a dancer yourself?
well, if you would like, I could twerk right now. I mean, if there was a twerk national championship
You
for
would win.
men over the age of 50, there would be no question. I would be the perennial champion. But,
World champion.
ironically, let me give you the backstory to answer that a little bit.
Okay.
I was raised a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, I didn't know
So,
that.
Basically, I, grew up in a family. Initially was born into a household single mother, and I've never met my biological father, but my mom remarried when I was 4 or 5 years old. Very nice man, Bob Sharp, who adopted me. So
Oh, wow.
hence the Sharp, which doesn't so sharp sound so much better than so creasy.
Was that your born name, Creasy?
Yeah, it was like Creasy, and then at some point the O was dropped, I guess, so I'm told. And but so creasy, like so greasy. No, but yeah. So of course, my biological father's name is John Creasy, and here he had all these movies, but not really. But
That's interesting.
yeah, he does not look like Denzel Washington either. But
Not a chance.
I'm guessing he doesn't. I'm
Right.
seen a few pics, but anyway, in that faith, that religion, extracurriculars, sports, people pretty much know about the no Christmas, no holidays, no birthdays, but it's
Yeah.
there. Any extracurriculars are frowned upon as well. So I was this kid that at school, would be at the games and would watch things, and I inside I was performing for all get out, but I did kind of break away and start pushing my my own wants a little bit in high school. And Floyd Central has a world-renowned, not just nationally renowned, theater program. Been invited to the Thespian Festival in Scotland many times. Matter of
Wow.
fact, more than any other high school program. And I was blessed to be part of that program. And we were known for big, amazing Broadway caliber musicals, and I was involved in that, and I did dance in those. And
You
performed.
were acting?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that either.
He's a thespian.
Thespian troupe, 1794 for life.
I don't know what thespian.
Thespian, that's what they
means.
call actors and actresses. They're thespians.
That means I have a little card that says I'm legit.
Sweet.
I already knew you were legit.
Too legit.
Too legit to quit.
Hey.
So
Yes.
speaking of, obviously that, I actually learned some things about Floyd Central just now that all these years I've known you, I didn't even know a couple of those things. But tell us about, how, as far as like your transition from Floyd Central. I know that went on for years, and you did that in parallel when you were the spirit coordinator at Louisville. But tell us kind of a little bit about, your accomplishments and how you got attached to the University of Louisville originally.
Again, it's the Floyd program. It was a above average high school dance team when I got them. I wanted to be the best and wanted to win. And blessed in the community of Floyd Snobs, very supportive parents for the most part. And, my kids bought into my vision. I've always said, everyone I've surrounded myself with is far more talented than I will ever be. I'd always say Cheryl Knight, current still at Louisville, is the Lady Birds coach. I always said Cheryl has more talent in her pinky than I have in my whole big body. But I always, I feel like I've always done a good job at having a vision or a plan for everyone but myself. but so it was very clear that we were going to go for it. And I kind of changed the game in terms of high school dance team, high school spirit squads. People would look at me, until I opened my mouth, and they would think I was coaching football. But, and I approached it that way. I mean, I think dance is the ultimate. It is artistic and expressive, but to be truly successful, you must be a true athlete as well. And I really approached it from that level, and always had my teams working out physically as much as we did on technique, and really went for it early on. I met Cheryl, who had been Lady Bird herself and was the captain when they won their first ever national championship in 1995. And she came in and helped me tremendously with the Floyd program, choreography, and so from there, the attention came when Louisville's head coach decided to step down. And they moved Cheryl and me into roles as coaching.
So what you don't know is one of my very dear friends in life was actually one of your athletes in 2002, your first season ever coaching the UofL Ladybirds, and Alexis Lockmiller.
I cannot tell you how much I love Alexis. We've been in contact some lately. That's social media is an amazing thing because it's going to keep you in contact with people. It also can be used when life's not going so well to make sure the entire world knows.
Yes.
But yeah, I love Alexis. Boy, let me tell you what, she is feisty. She's when they say small but mighty, and she has really, she said to me, I'm very different than I was on the team, but we all grow and change in different ways, but she has been a source of a lot of support.
Well, that's what I was going to say, and because I didn't know you personally, but knowing someone like Alexis, who still knowing you, and I reached out to her actually this morning because I was curious to know what people may think that don't know you. It's on social media, on the internet, you can see what other people may feel about Todd Sharp and what has happened and things like that. But knowing people who were directly with you for 4 years, Alexis was there. She still is so incredibly supportive, and I look at that as like anyone who has any negative things to say about athletes or ways that they feel athletes were treated or things like that. I completely trust her, and she again has the most utmost respect for you and is so supportive and wishes you so well. And I know that again, I've seen you interacting on social media as well.
The feeling's mutual.
So that made when I was again not knowing other than really Jim and Alexis, both of them have been very supportive and said positive things. So 2002 was the first year, correct?
2002 was actually, I think 2000 is when I first started working.
Was 2002 the first championship?
It may have been.
2002.
And I know how ridiculous
it all
this
runs
sounds.
together.
There were so many.
Well, when we're talking about numbers of championships, and I said this to you all briefly, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. I'm so grateful. Obviously, I wanted to win and love to win, but it really, I know the overall total of championships I have as a coach, mainly because other people have kept track of that and told me, but, the years kind of run together. However, I could get up and perform most all of the routines.
Please do.
That doesn't, let me stretch. That doesn't leave me, but yes, but somewhere in that time frame.
I can remember, I don't want to get too far off. I can remember they went on a cruise. Was there like a competition on a cruise? I remember her going with the Ladybirds on a cruise ship and dancing. Or
I took her to Cabo San Lucas, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay. we went to Cabo, and so we weren't on a cruise ship. We were on a boat, so maybe there was some photos.
You were on a boat.
But I was, we had some opportunities. We performed. Actually, it was Texas Roadhouse.
Really?
Does their big national for like all of their franchisees, and they had that in Cabo at the time, and they wanted to bring in some college greats, so they brought in Denny Crum went. Nolan Richardson went, Joby Hall.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty awesome. And Coach Wooden went, which just, it was incredible. Got to spend time talking to him. What an inspiration and a legend. And then they wanted the best halftime entertainment for, they organized little basketball games. So I got to go and take some Lady Birds. That was awesome. And then I also took a group to Italy, and I think Alexis was on that trip.
Oh, wow.
To Italy. So yeah, we had some great opportunities.
Sweet. Jim.
I know. I'm here. I'm here. I'm just I'm reminiscing about all the memories that I had in the 2 years that, I was here getting my master's degree and cheering. And it was funny. The very first time I met Todd, Nick Wertsmith introduced us, and we were over at the gym, and Nick said, "Todd, you got to meet this guy. This is Jim. He's one of the new guys." And you looked at me and you didn't say anything for about 5 or 10 seconds, and you said, "You'll do just fine here," or something like that. And it was really funny. There's some other things that we laughed and joked about at the time, but it was really funny. And it just kind of, I was like, okay, all right. So here we go. This is going to be a good time. And the rest is history there. But, so as far as your accomplishments at UofL, I know we kind of hit on that, and it's something that has always struck me about you, that has seemed, pretty selfless, I guess. Yes, there was a lot of drive and determination to win and be great, but it was interesting after the fact when the winning happened, how you stepped back and just soaked in what your athletes were doing in front of you in their moment of glory. Can you speak on that?
My expectation level of the kids was always so high, and I did push them. When the TV show rode around, one of the famous intros is, one of the girls saying, "Todd is like your best friend and your worst nightmare rolled all into one."
I remember seeing that.
And, it was so important to me that the winning was never for me. It was theirs, and again, I had the vision and, the desire to do everything I could to make it possible. But it was very important to me for them to have that moment. And, I expected a lot and they gave a lot. Sure. And truly, looking back, it was really my only joy in winning was seeing them rewarded. And, I can remember in those final moments, you've worked as hard as you possibly could. So I never felt going into a nationals that we had been outworked. And I always felt confident in what we took, but lots of amazing teams. And I think one thing in this community is, you'd hear, "Oh, they won again. They won again." It got to the point where people are like, "I'm just assuming you won."
Yeah.
The truth is, the majority of those years, I would hear nothing from the people you would think I would hear from. The kids would hear nothing, and that's the truth. You know this.
Yeah.
And it became an expected thing. But the truth is those top 20 programs, at least, there's way more than that are amazing, but, truly incredible teams. So I would never know for sure, obviously. I each win, I felt so blessed to get it and knew there were other amazing teams as well. But, to me, that moment was only truly happy for me because I would be hoping and praying that the kids would not feel like I had asked so much of them for them not to be rewarded.
Right.
Yeah.
I can kind of relate to that, being obviously not on that level, but being a team leader to my agents. Similar, I try my hardest to coach them up and support them in so many ways. And now, when it was just me, I was, my own success was all I could be proud of. But now it is different. Jim, seeing him be so successful so quickly, that is what drives me to keep improving and doing everything I can to help them reach a level of success. I completely relate to that part of it because it's a different kind of feeling. And I've said many times, and you're a father, you know this too. It's almost like seeing your kids succeed. It just makes you feel really good. And it's unless you've experienced it, it's hard to explain, but it's one of the best feelings in the world is when you can contribute something to someone else's success. It's on a whole nother level, in my opinion.
So the short experience that I had as a coach, it was between the fall of 2009 through the spring of 2012. It was like that 3-year stretch. when I was here helping out with large co-ed before we moved away to Tennessee and whatnot. And it was really interesting because I remember as an athlete, like when I was on the team, my very first year at Louisville, we're down at nationals, and I was old when I came here. I was a grad student.
You was old.
Well, in comparison, I was older than most. I was like 24, I think. And so for some of you out there, like, holy crap, this guy was 20. Trust me, there are people that much older than me that still try to do it to this day. But I digress. So I came here, and we're getting ready to take the mat, and that's what we called it, take the mat before you go on the floor. And I'm sitting there on a cooler, and I guess I looked like I was about to fall asleep. And a young freshman on the team came over and was like, "Are you okay? You know, is everything all right? Like, you're super calm. Like, is everything fine?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, everything's fine."
I've been here before, Holmes.
And she said, she's like, she's like, you're not freaking out? And I'm like, and so I look around and I'm like, should I be? Like, what? Do you know something that I don't? And she was like, well, I'm just so nervous. And I said, look. At this point in time, we've done all that we can do. We have to go out and do our routine. That's why they call it a routine. We've done this so many times. Like, if there's something that you know that I don't, let me know so I can prepare myself. But, I think that was one thing, as an athlete, I held everything that I held in my hands, I had control over. So, if something went wrong, it was because, it was something that I did. So I had control to be able to fix and do whatever. But then transitioning to a coach, that kind of the emotions inside before your team takes the mat, because you've done all you can do. You can prepare, you can try to put athletes in the right position to be as successful as they can possibly be. But when they're on the floor, when that music hits play, and the emotions for me in particular were unreal in like it was completely opposite. I'm talking inside, like I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing I could do at that point. I had done all I could do up until that point, said all the words, tried to put people in the right position, try to do all the things, be a leader. It's funny. I'm getting kind of choked up thinking about it right now because these emotions are coming back. Like it's such a helpless feeling as a coach, because at that point, what's done is done. And
so let's talk about then. I can only imagine being in your position when you don't win, to see the opposite effect, see all of them,
I think I remember maybe when that happened like twice ever. Like maybe twice.
But good point. But I'm sure that there was a lot of that's tough.
In those few times, and boy, I don't say that to sound arrogant or pompous, but honestly, there was, I think in my coaching career, there were only 2 seasons that we were not national champions in at least one division, if not multiples. And
that's amazing.
And yes, and those times, if I'm being honest about it, those times typically we had individual mistakes. If you were Louisville in the college world or Floyd Central in the high school world, you did not become the champion by being the best. Am I right? You had to be the best plus 20 points.
Yep.
You had to be the absolute best. So, yeah, there was individual mistakes, but it was always, and how devastating when somebody drops or makes a mistake or falls. You see they're carrying the weight of the whole team and of me. And I was always very quick to, even if I wasn't maybe feeling that way at the time, I was pushing you too hard, or that had been inconsistent the last couple of weeks. I should have changed it, or I should have moved you. Ultimately, boy, it drives me crazy when you see a coach, and there's a coach I've seen do this several times. I'm not going to say where he coaches, University of Kentucky basketball. But anyway, I'm just going to say it because can I say that?
You can say yes.
But, he'll have a team, that has a loss and doesn't do well, and he lays it on those kids like, as a coach, if we're going to, we definitely are hearing the congratulations, at least sometimes when we win, win or lose, either you're, the captain of that ship or you're not.
Right. So. Good point.
Yeah. No, it's interesting to think about, like, just the difference in the emotions of athlete and coach, and having the unique experience of being able to do both.
Right.
It's funny how how that relates to Messi's success, because the path to victory is not, it's never easy. You know,
Yeah.
no matter how talented you are. I mean, it's always messy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, speaking of that, like kind of transitioning. So in reference to your messy success, Todd, because obviously you're riding high, everything's going good. You know, you've got your TV show, and then there was the fall.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I am curious. How did the TV show even become a thing?
Yeah, that is.
Where did that? Tell us about how are you approached, and tell us about it.
Well, you know, honestly, throughout the years, there had been discussion from other networks. I had a few people reach out to me over the years, and some of that came from, you know, when my kids would compete, I was not a motionless coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was trying to give all the energy and all the, you know, I just really believe that, you know, everyone does better when you have people cheering for you, right?
Right.
So, you know, I think the fact, you know, I had some unfair advantages to become iconic. You know, the winning, I don't think I had advantages to that because, you know, when you're on the national level, a lot of those judges are former dancers, former cheerleaders that, you know, they've been in this for years. So, but I do think that being a man in my age range, you know, coming into a world at the time when I started for sure was definitely female dominated. I stood out a little more, but I was pretty animated. It also wouldn't be uncommon for other coaches or people that were there with ESPN, you know, filming the events to hear me, you know, giving somebody hell, you know, off to the side as well. So, but, you know, winning is what ultimately, you know, got the attention when you're winning that many championships. And, you know, I think social media growing a lot at the time too. So ultimately the show, So Sharp, part of A&E family on Lifetime, the show Dance Moms was a big hit at the same time.
And that's right. Wasn't there a daughter?
So Riley Vertez, her mother is Jill Vertez, and
forgot about that.
You know, who's one of the original Dance Moms. So obviously there's a lot of social media with me and Riley and the girls. And so actually the production team that was in charge of production for that show had reached out to me and wanted to do a show. And I tell you, I was super apprehensive. I said to my inner circle, this will destroy my life.
Really?
Yes, I did. I said, and let me go ahead and say this real quickly. That did not destroy my life, but I destroyed my life with some help. But I was very apprehensive. And the reason being, I'm semi-intelligent. The last couple of years, it probably looks like maybe that's not the case. But, you know, look at all reality stars. I mean, hello, Martha Stewart went to prison. Martha Stewart, like she probably, adopts baby kittens off the street. And, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are.
She sure can decorate your house.
Yeah. Well, she could have decorated my old one. It would have looked nice with her touches, I'm sure. But yeah, she, she's just a perfect example of, when I look, people love controversy. And, and I was afraid of things being manipulated. I was not scripted on the show. I wouldn't, they tried, they would give me a paper. We're thinking maybe today. And I'm thinking maybe not, that's not the way I'm going to do things. But they did, in hindsight, once it airs, they were totally manipulating the girls. I have never coached anyone that has stayed with me beyond a few months. Anyone that has stayed with the program and especially done at least, the 4 years there, I would go to bat. Any athlete I have coached has been, a great people. They were great people. I mean, the girls, the sisterhood with Lady Birds and brotherhood, we had a few young men that were incredibly talented too, was very strong, and they treated each other for the most part with love and respect. And the show did everything. They had producers that would work with, there would be a producer assigned to these 3 girls and a producer assigned to these 3, and they would create
drama.
She said this about you after you walked out of the room, and it never happened. Or if she did say it's because her producer had said, say this.
Well, as a viewer, I can remember back then, and I've got 3 daughters. I would agree with you that it didn't exactly portray the girls in the best light. And I do completely believe that a lot of that was manipulated, or is that the right word?
Yes.
I'm not good with words. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that possibly was maybe a reason why did you think in the beginning, should I or should I not? Because of that, because, you know, reality TV, they put out there what they think what's gonna get people to keep watching.
I was very afraid of that, and I verbalized that on many occasions. And I don't have any animosity for, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, at the end of the day, I was smart enough to greatly suspicion it before doing it, and I did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I have people that come up to me all the time. I would never in a million years do reality TV. No, lies.
Yeah,
Lies.
until you get that paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, it's just lies. And even if the paycheck wasn't there, the truth is most of us want recognition for success. People can talk about not wanting fame. I believe the true percentage of people that would absolutely run from it is very small. But it was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people can say, obviously I am proud of my coaching on the show and what we accomplished. I'm very proud of my kids. And I think that played out and did represent well in the end. It showed how hard we worked. And I think it showed, man, I looked terrible. First of all, I looked like I had been eating at a buffet for weeks on end.
I think you talk about that in the show also.
Well, of course. But, I'm going to tell you right now, they say that television puts, they say 10 pounds or whatever. Lies.
Is it 20?
Oh, it's 50. I mean, it's just absolutely the worst. And but yeah, I think it showed the true emotion. I was definitely emotionally available for all the athletes I coached. And I would laugh with them. I would cry with them. I'd yell at them, and I'm not embarrassed or unhappy with the final product.
Mm-hmm.
I am unhappy with, anyone that would think that those ladybirds are anything other than gracious, hardworking, grateful, incredible young women and men, because they absolutely are. And they have continued to be throughout their life. For me, the show didn't make my life hit a wall. I did. I mean, a lot of things had happened, and a lot of things were going on in my life, personal and professional, that ultimately led to things unfolding the way they did.
Would you say that how were things on the outside, like while the show was being aired, or in that particular phase of your life? Because obviously the show, it focused mainly on your job and the Ladybirds and getting them to a national championship. But what was going on outside of that during that time?
Well, during that time, there was really no time for anything else. In my, for the vast majority of my 20-plus year coaching career, what you saw with the show is what it, long days, no days off. The minute we would wrap up a year, I had already been working on the next year. How can we be better? So I think there was always, I've said before, the only thing I really felt confident about in myself was my coaching abilities. I've never felt like I'm a bad father. I've felt like I'm a good father until, how can you feel like a good father when you're embarrassing yourself and, your children and your athletes? And so during that time, I can't say that I felt like a good father, but, my ex-wife has always said, she might tell me what my issues are, but, being a bad father is not one of them. But truly in my heart, the only time I felt confident or comfortable in my own skin was coaching. So that part was good. But there were a lot of things that, had transpired. I did have, as things started to unfold, me slipping into addiction, me jumping into addiction was, I did have, and, I'm not going to come here and sugarcoat or half talk about things, right? You don't want that.
No, absolutely.
I absolutely did have a mom of, I had coached 4 of her girls over the years between high school and college, and she I won't get into every detail, but she is a very bitter person, and she was out to destroy me. She verbalized that she was going to destroy me. There are other mothers, I can provide names and numbers of other mothers that she tried to coerce to, I'm telling the administration this about him. And the other moms would say, but that's not true. And she goes, well, we're going to say it is. And during that time, I was so shell-shocked because, quite honestly, the entire time that I was coaching, all I was getting was accolades. And we were successful. And, my personal life outside was not perfect. After 24 years of marriage, got a divorce. At the time, it was an ambush divorce. By that, I mean, another house had already been bought, and all family and close friends, and everybody knew before me. Looking back on that now, I think she was, in some ways, trying to make it easier for me, but, and I'm not saying the divorce didn't need to happen, but, I was still, that was my life for many years. And, I was still reeling from that. In the mix within a couple-year window, my oldest son had a catastrophic head injury, ATV accident, and very touch and go for weeks.
When was that?
You're going to ask me the exact
What
year.
was it?
4 years ago.
Oh, so
accident.
fairly recent.
The TV show was on at the time because, there was, I remember being in the hospital, and there was, most of the time there's, initially I would hear is like the ventilator, but there was like something on the news that reality star Todd Sharp's son Cameron is in for the fight of his life.
Wow.
At University of Louisville Hospital, but there were many things. But when I look back, I think the fall for me was coming, my whole life in a way. I've been running from myself in many ways my whole life. But I do want to say, without getting into a lot of details, not by a long shot was everything that was said about me true. I mean, not even close. And I was in such a broken state on every level, mentally and physically and emotionally, when things went down. My attorney put out, made some demands on my behalf and said, we want to see where's the, this is what really happened. Where's the proof? Of course, that went unanswered. And, there's a lot of dynamics that were in play. There were many factors around that same time. Tom Jurich was no longer our athletic director. We could have hours to talk right now how much I respect that man.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of changes made at the university at that time. The truth is, to this day, Vince Tyra has never had a conversation with me about any of this. I was informed that there was allegations. I had letters left at my front door in the rain, and that's how I found out what was going on. When I asked for meetings, it never happened. But, I would have never, as a coach, I was always, really adamant. I would even talk about like smoking pot or whatever, that, you don't do this. It might affect your memory, and then you'll mess up during the routine. I would have never in a million years guessed that would be part of my story, ever.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the first installment of this 2-part episode. These kinds of things aren't easy to talk about, but I hope that my listeners will take positive from Todd's story, and I hope you will join us for part 2 to hear how he is rebounding from rock bottom and now helping others do the same.